This is an NBC News special report.
We've just received reports that a massive power outage has struck the entire East Coast.
Residents are effectively isolated with no means of contact, and emergency services struggle to respond.
Heading to the rendezvous, ETA 5 minutes. Alright, bro. Yeah. Take this, hit the big button if you need anything. Let's go. Hey everybody, welcome back to Purposeful Armament. Today we have a video that I've been kind of excited to make for quite some time. Now it's a bit of a departure from our normal content. On this channel we like to shoot guns, promote training, show off cool gear and kit and all that. But the core of our YouTube channel and of our company goes much deeper. Preparing concerned citizens.
Yep.
That's our core.
Yeah, if you have... the phrase kind of goes in construction that once you hold a hammer, everything looks like a nail, and not every problem in life is going to be solvable with a gun. You have a flat on the side of the road, you can't shoot yourself a new tire.
So today we're going to go through my truck. But before we start that, I want to give a quick shout out to the sponsor of today's video, and that is
Ed?
PurposefulArmament.com, baby. We are our own sponsor. We got a lot of cool stuff over there, so I would go and check out the website. There'll be a link in the description. You'll see some stuff today that we are offering on our website. Some of this stuff is out already. Some of this stuff is not out already. So there's some cool stuff. If you're interested in any of that, check the link in the description. We got t-shirts, all kinds of cool stuff. And like you mentioned, Ed, we do want to give a big shout out to our first Patreon, Ed. Thank you for the support, big guy. We appreciate it.
Was that Big Guy or Big Daddy?
Big guy.
No. It's Big Daddy.
Maybe for you. Anyways, let's start with the truck. We're going to go to the back here and we'll just look at the whole bed setup and everything, and we'll just go through it. Be aware, we've got a bunch of camera stuff up here and stuff. That's not stuff I always have. We'll tell you whenever it's
It's
stuff
Purposeful
I always
Armament stuff.
Yeah.
For video stuff.
First thing I would say is if you have a truck, you can do this in a, you can have all this stuff in a car too, but if you're doing it in a truck, you're gonna be utilizing the bed. I would get a bed cover. Preferably a metal bed cover. I got this on sale for like 300 bucks at Home Depot, and it's just aluminum. I'm not gonna say it's cheap by any means, but
It protects your gear, and so
yes,
it's worthwhile.
Exactly. It allows you to
buy
lock.
once, cry once.
Exactly. It allows you to lock up your truck, and
That feature right there, the locking ability of the
Yeah.
hard topper, is really key here, because you're able to keep some more expensive things in the back of your truck that otherwise wouldn't be able to be safely stowed back there.
Sure. And you could get one of the fabric covers. I probably wouldn't though. I would just spend the extra money and get a hard top. The fabric covers are okay, but they can get ripped very easily, and there's I guess nothing stopping from someone coming up and just slashing and taking whatever's out of the back. So with that being said, let's take a look here. So I've got a couple bins here that I used to store some stuff that I just kind of want readily available, right? So for starters, I guess I'll explain how I did the bins, if it's advantageous for anyone. Very simple, go to Lowe's or Home Depot or wherever, get these big bins. They're 32.5 inches long. They fit perfectly back here. And then you just get a cargo bar. Harbor Freight, 15 bucks, cargo bar. And that'll keep it locked in there pretty well, and it won't really move around a whole lot. So we're just gonna start pulling stuff out and kind of explaining, I guess, why we would have that stuff.
The thing that excites me is recovery equipment. All of this stuff is necessary and very advantageous. So the recovery strap is quite possibly for stuck vehicles and anything. Sometimes you don't even need soft shackles. The recovery strap alone is your most critical point of pulling. Usually on these, I imagine you open it up, they'll have a rating for how much they can tow. And that will either be a wider strap, a thicker strap, or it'll be some sort of nylon braided cable or some steel variant. Diving into pulling still, we've got these soft shackles. These are fantastic because they allow you to wrap onto really anything. There's a lot of things that this could wrap around. For example, on the front clip of most trucks, you're going to have control arms, the axles themselves, differentials, the frame. The frame's the best spot, and this allows it to easily conform around. You can just toss that through. Let's pretend this is an axle here. Whenever you do this and throw that around, all of a sudden your choke point just comes up into this. And because it's not a knot, whenever you put a strap around here and start pulling, all too often if you're only pulling with a strap and you put even just a choker knot on it, it will cinch so tight that you're not going to be able to get it off, or it's going to be very, very difficult. So that about does it for most of the recovery gear. Obviously, a hand winch is probably like the least preferred, but it is the bare minimum. A hand winch is fantastic because it allows you to get insane amounts of leverage between a stationary object and your stuck vehicle to be able to get you pulled out. And so all you do, there's usually a tab up on these to release them.
That one is very old.
It is very old, yeah. But the point stands is that whenever you connect between this and your vehicle, it could be, vice versa, it doesn't matter. Make sure that you're in a safe spot. Then you just start making the movements to start pulling this forward. That ratcheting system has torque inside of it and a bunch of leverage over top of this little spindle here. And so you're getting a lot of pulling force. Bare minimum strap, towing points, soft shackles, and a hand winch is the bare minimum for getting yourself unstuck.
This is another really good thing to have as well. This is a tire pump. So you can plug this into a 12 volt and plug the other end into your tire and pump it up. Chances are if your tire is like really flat, there might be some sort of item lodged in it that's causing it to
either
lose
that
air.
Or while you're airing it up, there's a chance that you may burn up this unit. It's really only meant to get you from low back up to high so you can get yourself to a point where you can repair the tire.
Yeah, that's a good point. This is more for getting you to where you can repair the tire, but it's still a good thing to have. I do want to say also that we're not trying to say that you need to go out and buy all of this like right now. There's stuff in here that I don't have. Well, there is stuff in here that we took from Jacob, just to kind of give you guys the idea.
I was prepared.
And we're also going to have a list of what you should have. That'll be up on our website. We'll leave a link to that as well. And we'll have links to where you can buy all of this stuff. But this is stuff that you should just put it on there. And if you have extra money in 1 month or whatever it is, you can buy some extra supplies to keep you prepared.
Yeah.
Everyone should know what these are: jumper cables, dead battery. Need to get your car started. If you have another vehicle, these are great. Now, one of the things that we did put on our list that I don't have here today is a battery jumper. They make like standalone ones that are just already charged and will act like another vehicle for you, but you don't necessarily need to get one of those. They're pretty expensive. If you can get one of those, it works basically the same way as this.
Well, the grand thing about a jump box is that you don't need the second vehicle.
Exactly. This, if we got stuck on the road somewhere and
With a dead battery.
with a dead battery, we get stuck in a parking lot or whatever,
We
have to go find someone else.
who has a charged battery
Yes.
or a running vehicle.
So still good to have though. The last thing.
Let me add one more thing to these, because
go ahead.
at no point would you want red and black to touch. Whenever you go and hook these up, in all honesty, I'm sure I'm going to get flamed for this in the comments because somebody's going to say, oh, the order does matter. It really doesn't. However, the way that I normally do it, just because I find it's the most safe, is from the dead vehicle first, put the ground on, and then I let the positive hang. And then I go to the vehicle that is actively running, put the ground on, and make sure that doesn't touch the lead post of the vehicle that's running. Then hook this onto the positive post of the dead vehicle, and only then, whenever you hook this one up, you're going to see a spark, because now the circuit is energized. Doing it this way prevents, like, if you were to leave a cable dangling, there's a potential way that it could, touch the two parts of the running vehicle and cause a spark when you really don't want one. Quite commonly, black and red is the standard for positive and negative. There are some batteries that are not color-coded. It takes just a second, double confirm and make sure that there is a plus on the side where you're putting the red. That information, as simple as it may seem, just needs to be repeated, because I've ran across numerous of people who don't know. And you don't know what you don't know, and that's why it's got to be taught. So that's why we're here.
And that is something else to be said too. Don't just get it and have it and not know how to use it, because it really won't help you out. The last thing I have in this recovery sort of bin, I guess, is a fire extinguisher. Not really a whole lot to say about this. I don't even think this is on our list.
Well, and the nice thing about this, there's a critical piece of information about these fire extinguishers. This particular one is an ABC extinguisher. This means that for whatever type of fire that you have, it is rated for it. Now, I'm not a fireman, but I do know that there are particular fire extinguishers that are important to have for vehicles. And if I'm not mistaken, C and B are the important ones, because liquids, as you can imagine, gasoline, and electrical equipment, electrical fires, B and C are the common ones needed for that. Teslas catching on fire and such like that. I've got family who are firefighters, and there's like nothing that puts those fires out. So like if you have a Tesla, just rest in peace.
Just take the L. Yeah.
Take the L. And
Darn, that Cybertruck left.
Yeah, we could have panned over there to the Cybertruck.
So with all that being said, we're gonna hop on over to the next bin here. This is more of like general tools and stuff. So WD-40. We have cable ties. This is something that I added to our list. It's kind of wet right now. This is like just a single burner stove that runs on propane. You'll see why I have this in a little bit, but we have some rags. We got duct tape, because duct tape fixes everything. We have a hammer. This is a 16-ounce hammer, Cobalt. And we have a cheap sludge. Well, no, this is a mallet. A cheap mallet. We have some ratchet tie downs. And finally, I have a cheap sort of general toolbox, kind of.
Craftsman is a good brand. They're not cheap.
It's got tools that you might just need,
Let me bring out my Craftsman set real quick to show you.
The classic screwdriver that you can put, all these different bits in. You got Phillips, you got Torx, you got flatheads, you got all that. And then
We
you know,
call that a
different
nut
sockets, Allen keys.
I too have a Craftsman. I've had this set for over 10 years now. And this right here is a little bit more, what's the term?
Well-rounded.
Not well-rounded, but it has more sockets available because the most common part on a vehicle is going to be nuts.
Sure.
And so having a socket set that is accommodating of all sorts of sockets or all sorts of nuts is important. And
So yeah, you know, just general stuff. Duct tape.
Duct tape for stuff that shouldn't move, WD-40 for stuff that should move,
Sure.
and zip ties for also kind of what duct tape does, but for different purposes. Everybody knows what those do.
You also need water. There's a ton of different ways that you can do this. This is by no means the correct way. It's just the way that I've chosen to do it. I've got this thing. Oh, it's heavy. This is a 20 liter or 5 gallon water jug. I just fill it up with water.
Is it distilled water?
This is distilled water.
Nice.
So yeah, distilled water, fill it up. I probably wouldn't leave it in here for a super long time because water, especially in plastic water bottles and stuff, if you leave it sit for a while, it'll kind of get that weird plasticky taste.
True. Distilled water also has a secondary purpose. If your vehicle is running low on coolant, you can put distilled water inside of your coolant. But you cannot just put regular water inside of coolant. You can, but the minerals and all the other additives that make it nice to drink corrode your motor. So don't put regular water into your motor unless it's absolutely a necessary thing to do. But distilled water is the way to go.
With that being said, you can go to Costco or Sam's Club and just get a pack of water and have that. You can get a cooler like I have here and fill it with, there's tons of different ways. I would also add, we don't have it now, but I would add some water purification just in case, because this water is finite. You only have 5 gallons. So if you're ever in a situation where you need more than this and you can't just go down to the stream or collect water out of a puddle down here and drink it, it's going to probably at the minimum make you very sick and potentially kill you. So don't do that. But you can get a life straw. They have those cool gravity bags that you put the dirty water up, you hang it up.
You could also do iodine tablets as well.
Iodine tablets or iodine drops. Get those kind of things too, just in case. The only other thing I have down here is a shovel. You never know when you're going to need a shovel, am I right? I mean, there's nothing really else to say about that. Use it for digging.
You could also use it for self-recovery stuff as well.
Sure. And something that is also helpful, jack stands. Make sure to get a jack stand that works with the weight of your vehicle.
Yeah, and do not buy ones that are going to fail on you. Make sure you do your research and buy the ones that are actually safe.
There is a jack. It's under all of this shit, so it would be a pain in the ass to get to. Not the best setup, but I can jack up my truck. I can set it down on this jack stand. I can do what I need to do under it without the fear of not being safe. And I have 2 of those in there.
Yeah, in case you need to lift up the entire front of your vehicle or the rear.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and take a look at the inside of the truck. I'm going to start on this other side.
Okay.
So inside the truck, I have a lot of other utensils, I guess, to help aid my life. I think first and foremost that I want to show off, under the seat, I got this backpack. Let's take a look at it. This backpack has a handful of things in it that are going to be very helpful. In this top pocket, I've got wet wipes, just in case I need to keep myself clean.
Are those dude wipes?
No, these are combat wipes.
Oh, I was about to say. It's still black packaging, so you probably overpaid for it, but I'm gonna...
It was literally $5.
Okay, I'm gonna hate on you for any reason, whatever.
We got a compass in there too. That's a full compass as well. So you've got all kinds of fancy stuff in there.
Very nice. Finding angles and finding north and relating to a map is very easy with this.
Yeah, speaking of a map, I'm not going to pull these out and show them because I don't want to dox where we're at. These are very specific topo maps of the county that I live in. and surrounding counties. So I do have paper maps. Ideally, I would get some sort of plastic
Laminate
sheet
them.
to put these in
potentially.
or laminate them. I like it being paper though because it folds up nicely, but you know, you can have that. I do have this bad boy. You're gonna hate on me a lot for this.
Why? Why? Because it's not a Leatherman?
A cheap, shitty Amazon multi-tool.
Buy a Leatherman.
Is it gonna be as good as a Leatherman?
Maybe once.
Maybe one single time.
There's a lot of redundancy in having the multi-tool all paired with the tools in the back of the truck. So
Yeah,
this is somewhat acceptable.
Yes. Next thing I have, a couple of headlamps. These are cheap Energizer headlamps I got on Amazon. They were like $10. They have a red, so
They've got a flood and a spot.
a flood and a spot. Yes. So I got 2 of them. They even came with batteries. I didn't even have to buy batteries. I would
nice.
highly recommend getting some of these. We're about preparing yourself and preparing your community, being an asset to your community.
Yeah, if you come up
And-
to somebody who is, in a dire situation, you already
Yeah.
have the tools needed, you can give them a headlamp.
Exactly.
Because oftentimes we find ourselves in the worst of circumstances at night.
These kind of things are great. I can give these out to someone. They're very cheap, so I don't even really care if they give them back. They were literally $5. And it could be just good to show to give someone who might not have one. I also have a much larger, like Maglite style. This is also Energizer. It's also very cheap, but it's pretty bright, and it also has a strobe, so it's not terrible. Like I said before, this is not like the end-all be-all that you should get. This is just
here's the tools that you need, and
Yeah.
here's kind of a baseline of what you need to set up. Man, no, we're doing good. We're doing good. All right.
paracord. A shit ton of paracord.
This isn't 550 paracord though. What is it?
This is
Like 1020 or
yeah,
something
it's
bigger?
a lot thicker. Yeah, I don't remember what it was, but it was at Lowe's for like $10.
Paracord, if it's truly actual paracord,
It is, yes.
Whatever its designation, 550 is usually the full tension strain poundage amount that it's rated for. So 550 paracord, if you can guess, is able to hold 550 pounds.
DeWalt work gloves.
Yeah, because oftentimes when you're working on vehicles, they're very greasy, or you just need to get extra friction on something.
Yeah.
Valid.
I got some mechanics gloves. These are my old ones. I use other ones for shooting, but I figured I'd put these in here just in case.
Yeah.
You know, you never know.
There's quite a big difference between just the nylon dipped gloves and these ones. These ones are much better for things that are going to tear your hands up. Like if you're reaching into the engine bay and there's a lot of clips or a lot of all sorts of different things that can tear your hands up. But if you're just working in an area where it's greasy, then something like this is probably going to be a little bit more better fit for you because you've got a little bit more dexterity, and these are going to keep your hands, one, just cleaner, and two, you will maintain having friction on things even though your hands are greasy. Whereas you get your hands greasy and you try to grab something, you don't have as much friction.
Yep.
Gloves are really good for that.
I've got fire starting stuff in here too. So I have a bunch of matches, ton of matchbooks. You can buy waterproof matches. These
It's
were
nice
just
to get them in a Ziploc
these
bag,
were
too.
left over at the house, so I said, "Hey, we're not using these. We'll just throw them in there."
Valid.
I put them in a Ziploc. Bic lighters. I got one with a longer nozzle here because that's actually easier whenever you build up your little
TP.
TP of kindling. It's a lot easier to get down into the middle of it and light it with that longer
Sure.
boy there. And I'm pretty sure Bic lighters are like pretty robust. Like they'll light basically no matter what, no matter if it's cold, whatever.
Unless they're submerged in water. Yeah.
Sure. And again, like I said, they're not waterproof, so they're in a plastic bag. This is a very cheap alternative to fire starting compounder sticks. I got these. You can buy these basically wherever. They even sell them at like Kroger. It's almost like cardboard. You light it on fire and it will burn. It's to start fires.
It's a kindling by itself.
Yes. It's also not water. This stuff isn't waterproof, so it's in a Ziploc. Another thing people can use that's very low cost, dryer lint. It lights very easily. It's not waterproof, but it's very easy to get stuff lit.
Number
using
one
that.
cause of house fires in America, dryer lint.
Yep. So
If it catches houses on fire, hopefully it'll help you keep warm.
crazy jump cut. I'm in different clothing. To be honest, when we were recording this original truck video, We were coming up right to the edge of when we were supposed to start our live stream, our first ever live stream. So we kind of started to rush through a lot of the inside of the truck, and frankly, that's not really fair to you guys. There should be deep explanation on why we have these things, just so that you guys can plan out your rigs and your setups accordingly, right? So in the main pocket here that I want to show you guys, first of all, I've got Mylar thermal blankets. These are great in a lot of different scenarios, and not just necessarily for, you know, cold weather, although it can be used for that. It can be used for a lot of different things, you know, making a shelter, collecting rainwater, all different kinds of stuff. This is a pack of 4. You can find these on Amazon for like $5-10.
Personal experience here. I got stuck on the highway because my work truck overheated, and obviously you don't want to drive with an overheated motor because you're bound to, you know, blow the head gasket. That's not ideal. And it was only about 35 degrees that morning, but I had to wait for so long, I started to shiver inside of the truck that had heat just a few moments ago, but waiting for 30 minutes, it got cold real quick. And I was thinking, oh, I'm on my way to the office. I don't need to wear a jacket. I don't need to wear a coat. I had to go back and go put on the hot hands and go put on my jacket and the blanket that I had in the truck just to stay warm until somebody could pick me up from work.
Exactly.
So
the rest of the inside of this is just food. First of all, I've got a bunch of Cliff Bars. These are good sources of protein, good sources of extra energy. There could be scenarios where you don't necessarily need a full meal. You just want to have a little bit of a snack. Not only are they good for, you know, that protein and the extra energy, but they can be great morale boosters as well. Speaking of morale boosters, this is something a lot of people don't think about. This is probably overkill, but this is just hard candy. A lot of people also don't realize how addicted they are to sugars and caffeine. I don't have any caffeine tablets or any caffeine on hand here, but that's also a really good thing to have. A lot of people, you know, Americans especially, are addicted to caffeine, and they just don't realize it. And whenever you're in a situation where you might not have caffeine for a long time, let's just say you might want to have some that you can wean yourself off, right? Because you will start to feel bad having not had caffeine, for some people. Next up, I have Mountain House dehydrated foods. These are really nice because they pack down very, very small. As you can see, the small area here is 6 meals. You can go on Amazon or go to the store, whatever, and buy these. I bought the Weekender pack. So it comes with 6 meals. I get 6 meals, and hopefully that's enough to kind of hold you over during some kind of crazy event. And this is the reason why we have that camp stove in there, the propane stove. These require you to add boiling water to them and let them like cook. So they're kind of useless if you don't have boiling water, and you have to have some way to boil said water. So now this little flap here is specific to Indiana or anywhere colder. I just have some cold weather kit. So I've got a couple of beanies here. These are nice Polartec fleece beanies, so they're going to be nice and warm. Same thing here. I got a Polartec ski mask, and then I also have some cold weather gloves. So these are mechanics gloves, but they are the insulated winter weather gloves. You know, they got that fleece liner. So that's basically all that I have in the backpack. Really, I just have it in this backpack to provide some extra, just to keep it all together, really. But a nice thing is that, you know, it's in a backpack. It can be taken out easily, picked through very easily. Now, another thing I have inside of my truck is water containers. So you saw in the original video, we have a big 5-gallon, 20-liter jug of water. However you choose to store water, if you're just buying water bottles, wonderful. You can just drink straight out of the water bottle. But if you buy containers like what I have to store water for a long period of time, you need to get some containers. I can drink out of that 5-gallon jug, but it's going to be a pain in the butt, and it's not going to be something that I can carry around if I'm going to, I don't know, like let's say hypothetically, truck breaks down, I have to walk to a gas station. It's going to be a lot more of a pain in the butt to carry around 5 gallons of water than it would be to pour some of that water into a small container like this and carry this around. All right, moving on to the other side. This is one of the cool products that I carry that we make and that I have not, they're not available yet. We're still working on it. Check out PA Concepts for updates. I've got an Alt-TG here, so this stays under the seat.
This is one of the prototypes.
Yes, this is a prototype, not a final version. It's got a strap, so if I need to run, like you saw in the intro video, you can, utilize it for that. I've got magazines just in case.
There's a lot of medical gear in here too. That's really, really huge.
Yeah. I've got a radio here on a dangler. We do not sell the dangler. This is just aftermarket, I guess you could say. An extra radio, just in case I need to give it to anyone. And on the inside, like Jacob mentioned, we got a bunch of medical. So I've got hot hands in the top pocket. I've got Tylenol in the bottom pocket. I've got a cold pack. I've got bandages. I have shears. This can fit combat or like these smaller shears. A tourniquet normally goes here. We have that elsewhere in the truck. This is like packing gauze, some Band-Aids, the self-adhesive tape so that you can tape stuff up, tweezers, a marker, and that's about it for the inside of that. So
obviously
keep
you
a lot
can
of
get these things to the way that you need as well.
Exactly.
Make them more comprehensive.
Exactly. Under this seat in the truck, I have just a simple blanket. A lot of people actually don't realize how effective a blanket is in a scenario where it might be cold. Like I said, even if you live in the desert, you live in Arizona somewhere, the nights can still get pretty cold. And if you're not prepared via your clothing, right? You don't have warm enough clothing on to be spending the night outside or in your vehicle with no heat, a blanket might be really good. And this has already been used multiple times. It's very good to have this around. Even if it's not that it's going to necessarily save your life, but it's going to make yourself more comfortable. Morale is a big thing of being able to survive as well. And being able to get through and just be prepared in general. So blankets are nice. I do have this antenna for my vehicle radio setup. We'll talk about that as we move inside the truck. But these are very nice. It's very cheap. It's like 10 bucks. And it's magnetic, so I can move it around to wherever I need it to go. I have it fed through the back here. This is a rain loop, I believe, is what it's called. So very simple. Make sure it's not focusing too hard on my face. Very simple and easy to do. All you have to do is just pop this out a little bit, feed the cable up through it, and then you have a nice, clean, easy setup to keep water out, all that kind of stuff. So let's go inside the truck. Okay, so inside of the actual vehicle here, I've got a lot more cool stuff. I've got additional radios. These are Bailfangs. One of them has a crappy little button guard on it. One of them has our button guard on it. You can check that out. Link in the description below. Keeps everything safe and secure. I have extra radios, right? We're talking about not just being able to be prepared for ourselves, but also being able to be prepared for other people. As you saw in the intro cinematic, I found my buddy without a radio, injured. The first thing I did was make sure to give him a radio, just in case I, for whatever reason, lost eyesight or whatever. I'm able to very easily communicate with him, make sure he's okay, get him anything he needs, etc. You probably also noticed this. This is a portable power supply, and I have these for a handful of different reasons. Now, this truck has a handful of different ways of charging things. We have USBs in the front, and on the back of the console, we have USBs as well as a DC plug. On this, we have the same thing. So we have two plugins actually for, power cables, whether that's a laptop or whatever. And then we have a bunch of USB slots that we can charge. And this thing is somewhat expensive. It's like 100, 120 bucks, somewhere around there. But it can run lights for a very long time. It can run all kinds of stuff for a very long time. It can charge your phone very quickly. We use this when we're recording for long periods of time to keep our phones charged up and our cameras going and all that kind of fun stuff. And I even have an extra one in here. This is a smaller, more portable power bank that's a little bit more affordable. Speaking of additional chargers, I have a handful. Some of my flashlights run rechargeable CR123As. I know some people don't like that. Some people don't like those. I do have extra regular CR123As, but I do like having the ability to charge batteries if needed. This is good, just preparedness type of thing, because, well, let's be honest. If you run into a situation where you've expended all of your batteries that you keep on hand, but you still have rechargeable ones, I can use this paired with a solar panel or whatever, and I can still charge those batteries up. So that's very good from a prep standpoint. The other thing I have in here is a Baofeng UV5R charging dock. This connects via USB. This is part of the reason why we don't like Baofengs. We'll talk about my truck setup radio here. The Quanshangs. The Quanshangs are good because they use USB-C to charge. Whereas this, you have to put it in this bank. Now, Baofeng apparently makes some UV5Rs that do charge via USB-C, so make sure to get those if you're at all concerned with this. But again, we can just plug this into the truck or into the power bank or into a solar panel or what have you, and that can give you extra charge to keep those batteries going. Now, in the forward part of the console, I have two knives. Number one is a Milwaukee Tradesman. This is just a big fixed blade knife. I don't really use this one because I also have another knife. This is actually the co-branded PA Tops knife. So this is a nice large knife. This is called the Shadow Hunter. It comes in a nice big sling a nice big Kydex holster that you can clip onto your belt, and it's phenomenal. It's very large. We are doing testing on this right now before we provide it to you guys. So absolutely, if you're interested, sign up for our newsletter and follow us. Make sure you get updates on this. But this knife is pretty substantial, full tang, made in the USA. It's great. You never really know when you might need the knife. You might have to cut stuff. You might have to cut rope. This can be used in a variety of different ways for a variety of different, use cases. So these are really good knives. They're really solid. We'll have more on that in the future for sure. But I've got both of these up here just in case. Again, like I said, for community purposes. This knife, pretty expensive. I don't necessarily want to give this knife out to someone I just find on the road. The Milwaukee Tradesman, it's like 20 bucks. I'm not going to say I would just give them out, but if I needed to for a certain scenario or a certain reason, I could. We talked about chargers. We got chargers of all kinds. I have chargers of all kinds in the back as well. Again, USB-C or lightning cables. Some people might have older phones and you might want to make sure that they can charge those phones up. Now onto the more important and cooler part. Not the radio yet. We're going to talk about the flashlights that I have in the front of the truck here. Now, having those flashlights in the back of the bag was great, but you might need immediate light super quick and you want it to be within arm's reach. I have this Surefire handheld. This is the ProTac 2LX, and also have this nice bright Milwaukee headlamp here too, which I can use for a variety of different things. Now, truly onto the most cool part, in my opinion, is my radio setup. So you guys saw the antenna on the roof there. That antenna is fed through the back and fed up through the headliner all the way up here. I have a BNC extender here that connects into this, goes up under this, what is this called? Sun visor, and comes around down to the radio. Now, there's many different ways that you can mount your radio. For this particular truck, in my particular scenario, this was the best way. I basically took a magnet and some Velcro and magnetized it to the top just above the mirror so I can still use my mirror, and then put a magnet on the back of the radio via super glue and attach that there. Wrapped the extended BNC connector cable around the mirror here so that it kind of stays out of the way. And then I attached this very simple Calm Mountain push to talk, and I super glued a small magnet on the back because I use this little magnetized phone mount to keep this stuck and secure on the front within arm's reach, so it's not dangling around, it's not sitting in here where it could fall out. It's nice and secure on that. Now the Quansheng K5, I chose that to be this radio because I genuinely like them a little bit better. They have some better features, but more importantly, this has USB-C. So all I have to do if it runs out of battery, which it did when we were filming our original truck video, all I got to do is plug this in right up here. And another cool part about this all being magnetized is I can actually just pull this down right here, and then I can turn it on. I can do what I need to do. I can take it apart so I can go and reprogram it or whatever I need to do, and then I can stick it right back up here. So that's something to consider too. You might need to quickly access your radio as it hangs up here. This is a good solution for that. And of course, I've got the Quansheng button guard on here too to prevent it from getting, hit by the mirror or anything like that. Now, by no means is that the most definitive truck radio setup. There are tons of other ones out there that will do way better. You can get repeaters, you can do all kinds of cool stuff, but they're very, very expensive. This whole setup is maybe $50, including the antenna, which we will have in the description below for you guys to go and buy and set that up. Like I said, not perfect, not the absolute best, but it's still a good start. It can get the ball rolling and help you be that much more prepared than not having a radio. You also are going to want the antenna because you don't want, the car acts as kind of a Faraday cage. So it can be very, very difficult to get radio signal in and out from inside the vehicle. So you'd either have to roll your window down and stick the radio outside to be able to pick up, or have an antenna attached outside of the vehicle. That's basically the entirety of the truck setup. Like I said, this isn't meant to be an exhaustive list. It's not meant to be the end-all be-all, but it is meant to give you guys a little bit of knowledge and ideas for setting up your own rigs. And you can do this inside of a car, inside of a truck, SUV, whatever it is, you can do it with that vehicle and just be more prepared. So I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to check out our website, sign up for our newsletter, and check out that list of gear that you should probably have inside of your vehicle and know how to use. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Remember, stay armed.